we back at it again, and I'm gonna be back later live this evening or later in the day. It depends on where you're located. Towards the evening in the U.S. Eastern Standard Time, and in the wee early moan in the EU, Western European Time, right? And or Central European Time, excuse me. And yeah, folks, but we at it again for now. And right now, we're going to discuss uh, this term limit craziness. It's not craziness meaning you shouldn't look at the details and follow up because, again, you guys are probably certain to see media, corporate media, not really, and not just corporate media, because then you got this straight up, you have misinformation or you have lack of information, then you have mis and disinformation networks, which are different, right? Misinformation could be, is, you know, informing people incorrectly about things and claiming that it's facts, right? Now, but it doesn't necessarily imply intent. Whereas though disinformation is the actual intent there, like purposely dis or misinforming people. Now, when it comes to legacy media, I guess you could say, right? Corporate, 500 media, right? The big powerhouse media companies, you know, they seem to be behind the curve often and not on the curve, but on the curve, but on the end of it, which is obviously the receiving end, instead of being like on the pointed side and really going after some of the things that are politically taken or being pronounced as politics. Uh, you know, Today coming out of the US is really wild, but this extension to the term limits of a president is the perfect example of that. And so let me just take this out, pull this one up here real quick. Yeah, I want to find out as much as I can about this also, but let's see here. Let's hear what they got for this at the moment.
In January 2025, Representative Andy Ogles, R10, introduced a joint resolution proposing an amendment to the US Constitution that would modify presidential term limits. The proposed amendment seeks to allow presidents to serve up to 3 terms, provided that no more than 2 of those terms are consecutive. This change would enable former President Donald Trump to run for a 3rd, non-consecutive term, while excluding former presidents Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush, who each served 2 consecutive terms. Turn news. The current presidential term limits are defined by the 22nd Amendment, ratified in 1951, which restricts individuals to 2 elected terms in office. Over the years, there have been various attempts to repeal or modify this amendment, but none have been successful. Cite Turn Search 18. For a constitutional amendment to be adopted, it must receive a 2/3 majority vote in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, followed by ratification from at least 38 state legislatures. Given the rigorous requirements of this process, the proposed amendment faces significant challenges in gaining the necessary support. Cite Turn News 10. It's important to note that this proposal is in its early stages and would need to navigate a complex legislative process before any changes to presidential term limits could occur. Turn Navlist, proposal to amend presidential term limits, sparks debate. Turn News 8, Turn News 10.
Again, the reporting, it's like, okay, so what they emphasize at this point is that it would not allow Obama, Clinton, or Bush to be president, but it would allow Trump, just because if you've already served twice consecutively, then you shouldn't be able to have a third. And that's what they're saying, right? Well, Obama has, Clinton has, Bush has. And so Trump is really, this law is kind of specifically for But what's the advantage? What is the disadvantage and what's the advantage? That's what I'm curious about. Like, what are the advantages? Because there must be a clear advantage for someone, right? And it seems to me that they're emphasizing that it would give Trump a clear advantage, which obviously I think that's the obvious part. But in terms of Trump, like, sure, it might, allow a person, on one hand, it may allow him to become president again, right? But is that all that it's doing? And so let's just see what they got here. This is the New York Post, though. By the way, I don't even know what to say. Pure, pure propaganda.
And retracted to his 2022 congressional campaign, despite his financial reports suggesting that he didn't have enough money to loan that much to his campaign. As far as Ogles' proposal for a constitutional amendment, it faces a nearly which would disqualify a proposal to amend the U.S. Constitution, to allow President Donald Trump to potentially serve a third term. Representative Andy Ogles' resolution that would amend the 22nd Amendment, which restricts presidents from serving more than 2 terms. As written, it would allow a president to serve up to 3 terms, but blocks those who serve 2 consecutive terms from serving a third term. That language would disqualify former Presidents Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama from running again, but would allow President Trump or former President Joe Biden to serve up to 3 terms. In a statement alongside the introduction of the resolution, Ogles heaped praise onto the new president.
I mean, the main thing about it is who says any one of these guys are going to be alive to even have a, come on, it is such a ridiculous thought. That's why I say people need to look in deeper to this, because even if you're trying to do it for Trump, which the media is emphasizing, obviously, and I'm not saying they're wrong. It's obvious Trump would want anything that gives him an advantage right here, right now, today, and tomorrow. That's clear. But I mean, what else is behind it? Because to me, Trump is going to, I look at being the president as being a prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would want to be the president? I mean, come on. How long do you really want? I just think this is madness. Madness, pure madness. Oh my goodness. This is listen, hold on, let me see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to think about this. What am I witnessing? You know what I'm saying? What am I witnessing? Let me see here, Miriam. Okay. 2 seconds. I gotta adjust this so I can see everything here. It's not coming up. Okay, Marion, right? The Lucas, third term for Trump or any other 2-term president requires a repealment of 2/3 of both houses and 3/4 of states. The repeal of this amendment would, yeah, it would require Democrats to support it. Indeed, it would. And like they're saying, that has never been achieved before. It's been tried, but it's never been achieved. It's failed because of that requirement that you're mentioning. So facts, facts. Let me see here. I'm just on my weekend stroll here, y'all. Leonard, you hear this? Like, really? I mean, heavy is the crown, you know, but yet somebody's thinking we need 3 terms. You know, I think it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There is no positive mathematical explanation for anything like this other than pure corruption, nuttiness, and retardation. Like, not that, yeah, something very lacking in that proposal. Just the fact that the media has to spend time on it. So, to me, when I look at Trump, I look at a lot of his stuff as like bombing. He bombs people emotionally. This is another bombing, you know. Uh, Although it doesn't come directly for Trump, it couldn't avoid, media attention, obviously, and I'm curious what Trump says about this. I want to find that out next. As a matter of fact, does Trump support this? Let's find out. Um, let's see. He's not made a public comment yet on it as of January 25. Okay, yeah, I guess this. Hmm. Historically, Trump has made remarks suggesting an interest in serving beyond the traditional 2 term limit, however. For instance, in August 2020, he mentioned that he might seek a 3rd term because he felt entitled to it due to alleged injustices during his presidency. Yeah, the injustices he alleges himself and nobody else can find. However, in an April that's another emotional thing right there, though, right there. Injustices towards him. People are supposed to feel and sorry for the injustices towards him, you know. But yet he's the one having all the luck, having the luck of his every, he gets to serve, he gets to be the first 34, felon, 34-time felon, right? To be president. That's a first. He gets to get out of criminal convictions. That's a good one too. All these convictions, there's loads of them. The worst types, treason. Allegations of treason against Donald Trump is what the news headlines should be saying, but instead, the news headlines are in fact saying stuff like this. Yeah, it's out there. It's definitely out there. Yeah, bro. Let me see. Definitely emotionally harvest the people. Yes, man. The entire way too. It's so draining. It even gets to people who hate his ass like me. It's like I'm I'm feeling abused that I didn't even believe in him in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But he's not going to stop. It's going to be an outrageous 4 years, and brace yourself for this emotionally also, right? Because I just see it just turning into a whole bunch of narrated media garbage. You know, um, be prepared to have your mind toyed with. If you had complaints before, well, the restraints are off now. So these folks can almost do anything they want now. You know, talk about conspiracies. It's like when the conspiracy is the conspiracy type of shit. You see what I'm saying? When the conspiracy callers are the conspiracy themselves, right? You know, for real, it's a real mind fuck. But minds, landmines do it. Let's see. Now I want to know. Now I want to know beyond Elon who they're really working for or what it's about. I mean, of course, there are different elements to what this is about. It's about more than one thing. That's for damn sure, brother. It's absolute. There's always two and three things afoot. Objectives. You know, And so on the surface, the one is what the political conversation is. But again, like I was saying, the media tends to be behind the curve. They're on the curve, but behind, on the end, the receiving end, on the latter part of the curve, instead of being on the tip of the curve where it's informing people, warning people what's going on, doing the journalism, breaking down the real stories, bringing real stories, the underplot, you know what I'm saying, out into the open. They're just sitting back on their heels, bro. And people should be concerned, all kinds of people, because as loony as these people look and seem, they are definitely about something. As incredulous and corruptive as it is, as dark and dirty as it is, as immoral and emotionally like drained, like nothing there, as dark as this is, they're about it. So they're the intent is that they're likely to try to be very aggressive and become more aggressive and more aggressive. It's not going to just sit at these kind of crazy words. I said it before. What do you do when the conspiracy theorists start becoming the fact? You know, I mean, well, I'm saying, what do you do when the conspiracy theorists are part of the conspiracy? You know what I'm saying? Because for me, there's always a conspiracy out there. Some conspiracies are facts, of course, but it all depends on what your conspiracy theory is, too. Like mine personally isn't one that's shared by a lot of people, but I mean, if you judge by the stories that are covered on YouTube, right? And in media, mass media, So I know I might be a minority myself, but I don't necessarily believe in a lot of these conspiracy theories that are put out there myself. But there is definitely a conspiracy going on. That's for sure. And I don't remove anybody from the picture, especially people that often promote conspiracy theories. I don't see them as being, because a lot of times what happens, I'm sure you've seen this before too, Leonard. Sometimes people try to cover themselves in the clothing of innocence too. You know what I mean? By saying, yeah, it's a conspiracy, and then all of a sudden they become the innocent, and that alleviates them from being seen as from being accused of being part of the conspiracy themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, of course, Trump has a conspiracy, and Trump has a particular conspiracy, and he's been stating it. He's been stating election fraud. However, he keeps winning. He keeps stating all kinds of grievances, although he's the one usually doing the things he's accusing other people of doing, right? And within that, he's reciting conspiracies the whole time while kind of being allowed to do all of those things that he's claiming someone's getting away with. In other words, it's the wolf pretending to be the sheep. You see what I'm saying? And so, but like I said, it depends on what your theory is too. Hop on up. Tell me what your conspiracy theory is. I mean, it's worth hearing. I want to hear. I want you to remind me of what it was. I know. We always talk about some conspiracy stuff, and not, and we don't even call them conspiracies either. It's just ideas. What ifs, right? But the link is there, bro. You can hop on up. Anybody can hop up. By the way, I'm just going to follow up with this little story here. Um, yeah, hop on up, Leonard. Or anybody else? I hope the connection is good. Sometimes it's a little troubling on this app that I'm using. By the way, this is OneStream. So anybody that want to try out a new app, check out OneStream. Um, you know, I think they can get a little better, but I like what they're doing. So I'm going to continue to use it. Um, let me see here. Oh, Leonard's got some comments, more comments. Okay. All right, Leonard, let me see here. I always want you to remember this quote, V. It keeps you from being complacent in this world. Yeah, bro. I mean, there's definitely some conspiracies going on, for real. This information program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. Yeah, that's true. Um, you know, I heard conspiracy. I tell people about this conspiracy I have, um, and it's based on something that I read like 25 years ago. I forget. It's a report. Somebody wrote it, and it was about Russian spies in the United States and ex-Russian military in the United States posing as regular civilians, regular immigrants, right? And apparently they said it was over like 10,000. That was over 25 years ago, over 10,000. And they had a conspiracy about that, about how this group was trying to ignite the right wing in the US on the ground, like these Waco people and all this other stuff. Yeah. And at that time, that was considered a conspiracy. But if I look at it today, aha, it looks like it came full circle, you know? But however, that's not a conspiracy a lot of people share with me. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I'm curious about that. Like, I wonder what is it? Where is the disconnect? Like, do people really not believe that a foreign government can infiltrate the U.S. government? I mean, come on, they say it all the time in the media that it's happening through what do they call it? These Trojans and things like that, the viruses that they used to crack and get inside of the security apparatus of the U.S. government, right? The high security level information, right? And you hear of leaks, and you hear about different kinds of things, hacks, leaks from employees, blah blah blah, all these things. You hear about people going out like Snowden. He was working for the U.S. There's a lot of different things, and my thoughts are, how come Snowden, like, I understand some of his grievances, and I hear some of the there was one other person that had some grievances they listed also, but I never hear them talk about Russians or any other spies in the US government. Like, that's what I found very curious, just being a person that follows these kind of things, or, out of self-interest, and it just made me wonder, why is that never their conspiracy, but people have written about this before. And so to me, I'm curious, is like Snowden just a really, to be honest, like, um did he make a mistake? Like, did he have some legitimate grievances but then get used by the Russian military? Possibly. What's up with some of the other things, Julian Assange, with all those things that they leaked and put out, right? Is he Was he working with the Russian intelligence to help do that, or was that just a coincidence? These kind of things. So who knows, man? We're gonna find out though. That's just my thoughts on it. But let me see here. Uh, that was true. I've been and and I've bumped into some of the Bay Area years. Hey, Leonard, you out there on the West Coast right now? If so, let me know how it is, man. How it is where in your area. They're posting as vendors. Okay, some Russian mafia dudes too. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm curious about. And when I see Trump, I'm like, well, Trump, Russian mafia, they say had the floor right under Trump's private residence in Trump Tower for years. So for me, I don't really understand what the media is doing. To me, they seem to be on their heels. Like, you could call it being scared if you want. Maybe that is true. Maybe they're all scared, and maybe they have reasons to be scared, and maybe this is just what they're doing to try to circumvent something else momentarily. But I don't see whatever Trump is up to as being successful. I see a lot of his activities as distractions, like, you know, And also, like we talked about, like bombing people with emotionally, right? And keeping people caught up that way and drained. And then while he does his real plan, and we gonna figure out what the real one is, you know? Uh yeah, nothing leaks out that they don't want out of you. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, man. It's true, man. No matter what leaks you got, they're not the deepest ones. That's for sure. It's like exactly for real, for real. Let me see. All right. So look, what is this? Where are we at, yo? This is Leonard. Where we at, man? You got me tripping up here. All right. This is Donald Trump wanting to run for office. He didn't say, the pieces haven't been directly connected. On one hand, we got Representative Andy Ogles, a proposed constitutional amendment that would allow presidents to serve up to 3 terms with no more than 2 being consecutive. This proposal, I mean, why did this asshole have to come up with this idea right now? First of all, is the first question. What's unique about this that it just sprung into his mind right now? You know, this proposal, introduced January 2025, is seen as a pathway for Trump to potentially seek a third non consecutive term. Yes, okay, so we covered that versus the remarks. Trump is like, he hasn't made a public comment about it if he thinks it's good or bad yet. But historically, we know Trump has suggested he would like to seek a third term in the past. So Trump has made remarks suggesting an interest in serving beyond the traditional 2 term limit. For instance, in August 2020, he mentioned that he might seek a third term because he felt entitled to it due to alleged injustices during his presidency. Boo hoo. However, in an April 2024 interview with Time magazine, Trump stated he would not be in favor of challenging the 22nd Amendment, which currently limits president. But doesn't he always play this psychological bullshit? He's not in favor because he knows that's unpopular. But then again, oops, but now maybe there is a reason. I couldn't have foreseen things would be this way, but things have gotten so bad. And so therefore, it actually does make sense. Given the absence of recent statements from Trump regarding Ogle's specific proposal, it's unclear whether he supports this particular initiative or not. So, local media, there's your job. Get out there and ask Trump. What do you think, Mr. Trump? Media, legacy media, jump all over this. Ask Trump for yourself. Hey, Trump, you're going to have to tell me what you think about this. We demand you tell us what you think about this, Mr. Trump. Do you think it should be extended, the term limits? Yes or no? We know we ain't going to get no yes or no answer out of him, but you have to ask him that way to keep him to 500 fucking words. or 2 trillion words, bro. You don't know. You don't know with Trump. Hey, Andrea. Hey. You don't know with Trump where this is going. You know, it's a perfect storm. Take it wherever you want to take it. If you want to, really put a lot into this, okay. But like it was pointed out earlier, it will take Democrats to go along with this to make it happen. And as long as Democrats is like, nope, then it ain't going to happen. So yeah, we can get off of that one. But let me just double check. I want to see if there's any statements on Trump third term. I want to see if there's been any statements on this. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is just. Sometimes when I look at the media, the news media today, and I look at the offers, what is there, I'm like, man, what is going on? Something's not right here. I'm getting all kinds of media that shouldn't even be here in my face. I mean, don't get me wrong, that I can get to them after I get to the main ones first, but Okay, the judges are blocking the immigrant executive order. Yeah, a lot of people don't know these executive orders can be blocked by taking it to court. So the Supreme Court is the highest authority essentially in the land still. So, um, and but even before it gets all the way through the process, it's already been probably going to be shut down before it gets all the way up there. But will Donald Trump get a third? Who is this? Trump's pardon? Hold on, rewrite change. What's up? All right, let me see. Let me see what it looks like here. Go back.
Capping off a week of groveling sycophants clawing their way into Trump's good graces, Republican Congressman Andy Ogles has taken the cake, having just introduced an amendment to the Constitution to allow Donald Trump to run for a third term in office. The resolution that he introduced would amend the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, which currently limits presidents to just 2 terms. Now, a few points here. Yes, this is nakedly unconstitutional. No, there is not enough support right now to amend the Constitution, for which you need a 2/3 majority vote in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, and then ratification by 3/4 of the states. But most importantly, none of that means that Republicans won't still try. Remember, presidential immunity isn't in the Constitution either, and guess what? Republicans, with help from their judges on the Supreme Court, created it out of whole cloth to help Donald Trump. Also, barring insurrectionists from running for federal office again is in the Constitution, and yet again, with the help from their judges on the court, they eliminated that provision entirely, again in deference to Donald Trump. We give Republicans the benefit of the doubt at our own peril. And look, this isn't even a new idea among Republicans. For quite a while now, Trump himself has been hinting at the idea of staying in office for as long as he wants. Here he is back in 2019 at a closed-door event boasting about how he can run for a third term if he wants to.
We got it really rocking. We're looking good. We're looking good for another 4 years, and then we got it. And what I'm saying is I have to sit and give a report, as I say.
You know, when I hear this stuff, you know, when you go back and when they show you instances where he's hinted at this, to me, I try to apply that thinking to everything that he does. Like he hints at stuff. He hints at stuff. Like, and is that a coincidence, or did they already have a plan to do this back then? Right. And that again, legacy news media didn't jump on it like some super scoopers, right? That snoopers, I mean, you know, they were supposed to snoop around and be like, hey, did y'all hear about this plan for, 10 years down the line? They plan on doing this and doing that. They didn't break the story necessarily. Or if they did, they didn't go deep enough. I think the media plays an integral role in the reactions that the public has, to these things, because a poorly informed public will produce poor reactions. And I just think overall, if people get back into just basic information, basic factual terms, how you present information. I'm talking about legacy media. It should be comprehensive and enjoyable. It should have both components. It should be something that has some flavor to it, right? Different flavors to it, but at the same time, in terms of the information, comprehensive, right? So it should attract a large amount of people, but it should also inform properly a large amount of people. It has a duty, legacy media. And it seems to me like legacy media has faltered due to corruption. I mean, essentially, whether it's intentional or whether corruption itself is such a big issue that it permeates all that, surround it anyway, just by virtue of being so, embedded in things. I don't know. But to me, it just seems like the media didn't inform. I don't know if that's, how much of a role the government plays in that, in trying to protect itself sometimes, and protect the country. But these kind of things should be concerning, because keep in mind, that everything Donald Trump, at first they've been playing him off, like the media, they play his stupid remarks, and of course they deserve attention, but they haven't really warned people about the danger of a person like him. I don't think effectively. Like, they played into the political part where it was like, okay, if we say too many truths, then it would look like we're favoring one politician or one party over the other. And that's bullshit, because the facts are the facts. Donald Trump is not a typical Republican. And he's also not a typical human being. He's not a typical American at all, by any means, positive or negative. He's not typical at all, right? And whatever positives there are, I guess that would just be being rich, right? Not having to pay taxes, being able to get away with tax fraud and crimes and all these kind of things, right? Being able to, say whatever you want about women publicly and have their support. I mean, that's a lot of privilege, and everybody doesn't have that privilege. So I'm just curious why Americans go for this stuff. Um, why we tend to, because it is us. We're voting for this. And the people that don't vote, you need to start doing your part, taking your part seriously. And for the people that voted for Trump, you need to do your part too. And that is, know what the hell you're voting for, because far too many Trump supporters seem to be getting something different from what they voted for. I mean, by all means, but we'll see. Let me see what else they're saying about this. Sorry.
Looking good for another 4 years, and then if we want to, another 4, maybe another 5. I think our president.
And they're laughing about it, but
Watch out, Bill Maher. He goes and looks at somebody like that. He goes, you know he's going to win, don't you? To some idiot that he's interviewing. He says, you know he's going to win. No, I think you know he's going to win. And you know he's not leaving, don't you? The guy's going, what do you mean? He's not leaving. He's not leaving him. And I thought he was kidding. He's been serious. So did anybody ever see the Time magazine? Well, we have it. 2020, 2024, 2028, 2032. In other words, we do that to drive them freaking crazy.
Now, of course, he's trying to frame this.
This is my favorite tuning plug.
That's some interesting logic Trump got going on. But let me hear with
reason number one. I can record my.
What did he say?
Suggestion as a joke. But as we all know by now, so many things that start out as so-called jokes from Donald Trump are actually his way of telling us exactly how he feels. Remember in 2020 when Trump tweeted, big protest in D.C. on January 6th, be there, will be wild? And instead of the media treating his threats to democracy with the urgency and seriousness that they deserved, we got headlines like this claiming that despite his bluster, Trump was going to concede gracefully. Yeah, remember how that worked out?
Exactly. And that's exactly it right there. And this is the issue, because you have to ask, are they complicit? Is legacy media complicit in some of this? Because the way they cover these events, they did it pretty much with like soft pause and kind of fueling the possibility that this might be okay. And that is actually wrong. This is not okay. And the more you have of this, the more the less democracy you're going to have. Because this right here is a representation of the form of democracy you have. So these people, in the name of democracy, they marched up to the Capitol, threatened to hang Mike Pence and kill Nancy Pelosi. They killed some police officers, or police officers died due to injuries they received by these terrorists. And the media is like not up on its constitutional work. They're not up. They're not carrying the debate like they have experts at their disposal. They're kind of going around it in a way, and to me, that's extreme. That's extreme because of the nature of what we're dealing with. We're talking about attacks against the very foundation of everything. The foundation means everything else will be harmed if this is harmed or messed with, and because you can't go backwards so easily. So the fact that they have done this and people try to normalize it, anyone who plays a role in normalizing it, you know, you have to ask, are they also complicit? Because even when you have other horrific things occur like that, a good example would be what happened in Germany. The Nazi Party come to rise. They had an incident in their capital. They took advantage of that incident and took over the whole political structure of Germany, right, by coercion, right, and um, and they went on to, you know, conquer other countries and throw millions and millions and millions and millions of people into work camps, death camps, right? And all types, many types of people, right? And the media covered all of that, and that wasn't even that bad. In the media in the beginning, the media wasn't really up on the conspiracy. They weren't up on their journalistic duty. You know what I mean? So, and look what happened there. So I think people, Americans have definitely in a new stage, a new point. But I think, it's up to the left on how they're going to organize and make this adjustment. But it's clear that these right wing nuts, they're forcing the left to think about their own defenses. Really, there are. You see governors and senators speaking about it, and mayors and things like this speaking about it across the country in democratic nations in one way or the other, opposing Trump. It's happening in the courts also. But everyday people need to think about this too, because these maniacs they were talking about surrounding DC. On this day or on another day, they had some plan to surround DC and then purge it, you know? And that's really the real story that the media doesn't seem to want to talk about. Like, what, they make it seem like it's not that bad. It hasn't gotten that bad yet. No, they already have plans to do more. People need to discuss what are the plans. What do they have in mind for real? Um, and so that everybody can get behind stopping it. Because the longer people sit on the ropes with this stuff, without some clear direction, I think is not wise. But I am encouraged. I do see Dems and leftists, not necessarily just Dems, but others, begin to have some talks about this, what to do about Trump. And I am encouraged by seeing like the governors and the local politicians like get ready to dig in and make their claims to their way of life, defending their own way of life. That's great. And we're going to see how it goes. I hope more people do take notice of this conversation. And by the way, y'all, hit the subscription button, the bell, so you get the notifications. Click the like button, please, so more people come to see the video. But on that note, enough said. I'm going to be back later on again this evening, and that's going to be a longer stream. It's going to be like 3 hours, something like that. So I'm going to drop the link and see who we can get up here and have some dialogue. The next stream is, what is it called? The next stream is oh, hold on, one other thing, y'all. I'm sorry. One other thing before I go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this right here. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, y'all.
Okay, so we are getting word right now. JD Vance, okay, he is there. He is sitting down. He's going to be now the tie-breaking vote.
Are there any senators?
Let's go live if we can get some sound.
Vote or change a vote? If not, on this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
And there you have it. There you have it. With that tie-breaking decision by Vice President JD Vance.
So now Pete Hegseth, that lunatic moron, is going to be the Trump's head of what is it? Defense? Isn't that it? Let me see. What's his nomination? Secretary of Defense. Exactly. Can you believe that? So he's going to be the secretary on top of all these career generals and admirals and all these other career folk. And he's just coming in from under the ranks. This is going to be funny. I already see the guy being caught drunk on the job, straight up. Either that or some young girls and drunk with pills and hotel rooms, and I could already imagine it. But in any case, welcome to Pete Hegseth. I'm sure Putin and everybody else is like, thank God, yes, we got somebody else we can extort. A pawn, another pawn in the game, somebody who we can get our fingers into because he likes pills and he likes the young girls and he likes the alcohols. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has all the weaknesses to apply for the sucker position, which, by the way, many would take, obviously, as you see, because you can't get this far if in politics, in the MAGA party, without being corrupt. I mean, it's crazy. They literally have a fund where they're defending their members against allegations of assault, sexual assault. That's crazy. I mean, there's so much going on right now with this party. It is like, and they have at least half, as you can see. And Jim Vance, and he can always come and make that last vote, to give their side the lead. So they're governing right now. And what they did with their governance was just put in a do nothing drunk who can't keep his ass at home. That is crazy. How it turns out, who knows? We've never tried it before. Is it bad on the surface? Yeah, it's bad on the surface. But how is it bad? In my mind, no one should want this, an incompetent Secretary of Defense. Not even the enemies of the U.S. should want that, because that's no guarantee that he's not capable of, trying to get your ass nuked either. You see what I mean? That's what I don't understand. So, but hey, in any case, I'll be back at it later on this evening. I appreciate everybody. Be good. Stay blessed. And yeah, have a good couple of hours. I'll see y'all. Be good. What's up with this thing?